I have started the script 5 times so far, so I will just cut the crap and get right into it. I think, not know, but think that the Fantastic Four movie, as well as the Superman film, present a massive potential shift for Hollywood, comics, and cape films for the foreseeable future. With that statement out of the way, I would like to provide some context for people who haven't been paying that much attention to the current state of Marvel and DC on screen. I'll start with Marvel, as that is more my area of expertise. Disney Marvel has been stuck in the post-Endgame doldrums for a hot minute now. Everything since then has been lackluster in quality or a flop of disastrous proportions, with poor direction from on high and extreme incompetence from the rank and file. They have undermined and replaced nearly every character from the first couple of phases with a more poorly written version, whose only virtue seems to be that they occupy a different section of the crayon box or different version of dangly bits than the original cast of the Avengers. But all of this is a symptom, not a cause of the issues with the current MCU. The cause for all of this is that most of the passionate, talented people who made the first 3 phases work are gone, and have been replaced with people who do not care about the comics or the characters, and who really didn't want to work with the characters they were given to adapt at all, and so they just did their own thing while wearing the stories they were given to adapt like a skin suit. And this has largely been the status quo ever since Endgame, and while rumors surfaced around the time of Deadpool and Wolverine that Marvel is attempting a course correction, every product released since has shown that not to be the case. Daredevil was disappointing, Agatha All Along, or whatever title they decided to go with by the end, was exactly the disaster I was expecting, and Thunderbolts flopped like Elon Musk's dick on Ashley St. Clair's chin. And the Fantastic Four seems to be going the same route, slapping tits on the Silver Surfer. And yes, we are all aware that it happened in that one run that got cancelled, and changing the head of the team from Reed Richards to Sue Storms. And yes, Wikipedia expert, she became the leader of the team in that one run of the comics from the 2000s that got canceled halfway through because they didn't move enough copies. No one cares. But Marvel needs this movie to do well. They need a win because the era of cheap COVID-era cash is over, and their overlords at Disney are cinching the belt a lot tighter these days. And public sentiments towards Marvel don't bode well for this project either. Fantastic Four has never been a successful film brand. Every version has either been an underperformer or a disastrous flop at the box office, and the MCU as a brand is not particularly healthy right now, as Disney Marvel have done a fine job killing the hype from Deadpool and Wolverine with several lackluster projects. Thunderbolts bombed as predicted, Captain America, Aldous Huxley edition crashed like Harrison Ford in an old aircraft, and TV shows since then have sucked, as stated before. And oh boy, right before the Fantastic Four comes out, we are getting Ironheart, which looks like a disaster of Hulkbuster proportions. And while Marvel attempts to do damage control in the hopes of not continuing the trend of failures they have been on since Deadpool and Wolverine, they aren't really doing the work necessary to mend the damage they have done, because to do that, they would have to admit that they have done the damage in the first place, and I don't think Disney Marvel has that level of self-awareness. Now, DC is in a slightly different boat, with James Gunn's Superman being one of the biggest vanity projects since Rebel Moon. Now, I have complicated feelings on this one, which largely stems from the director, James Gunn. Now, he's got a track record more mixed than my heritage, that's more hit or miss than my brother's dating history, and he has directed one of the best movies with Guardians of the Galaxy, and one of my least favorite superhero shows with Peacemaker. I'm going to leave the pretense of objectivism at the door. I do not think, emphasis on think here, that James Gunn can do a proper Superman film, and the reason I think that is because Superman requires the creator to be 100% sincere. That doesn't mean a complete lack of humor, but it does mean that when a serious moment comes up, you treat it as such, and don't interject a joke to break the tension. And from what we've been shown in the trailers, it doesn't look like he's going the sincere route. It looks like Guardians of the Galaxy 4, but with DC characters. I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but Superman isn't Star-Lord, and a Superman movie should be about Superman, not Superman and his eclectic group of wacky friends. But an ensemble film was what James Gunn and the execs over at DC wanted, when they probably should have done was to make a Superman film first and then build on top of it. But if jumping the gun was a competitive sport, DC would have more gold medals than a North Korean general. The damage done by a decade and a half of mismanagement by Warner Brothers has left DC on film a mess that will require a lot of work and commitment to clean up, and I just doubt that James Gunn is the man to do it. I want both of these films to do well, because I would like to see Cape Films redeem themselves, and these movies are the relaunch, supposedly, of both their respective universes. However, I would like to point out that Marvel, or at least their paid shills, claimed that they would relaunch things with Deadpool and Wolverine, but everything we have gotten since then has just been more of the same, and DC has canned every project but the ones James Gunn worked on. And if the Peacemaker is any indication of the future of the DCEU, well, let's just say I'm managing my expectations very carefully. But what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think that DC and Marvel have learned their lessons from years of flops, or will they continue their current trajectory towards the dustbin of franchises? If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on and consider subscribing. And until next time, this has been Pete, the Heretical Nerd, signing off.